Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Vincent Ferrer. Saint Vincent was a Spanish Dominican priest and is also known as the patron saint of builders and healers. He was born on January 23, 1350 in Valencia, Spain. From a very young age, his parents saw him as a child marked with God's grace, for he was very prayerful, intelligent, and loved to learn things. When he was 17 years old, he felt a deep calling to serve God and entered the Dominican order to dedicate his life to prayer and study. In 1379, at 29 years old, he was ordained priest and became one of the most influential preachers of the 14th century. Whenever he preached, crowds gathered in great numbers, hanging on every word he spoke. Around the 14th century, Europe was marked by crisis because of the epidemic of Black Death which killed many lives. There was also a great division of the church, when there were three men who claimed to be popes, and the church was plagued with widespread corruption of the clergy. In the midst of this darkness, Vincent journeyed tirelessly through Spain, France, Italy, and across Europe to preach about unity and repentance. They called him the Angel of the Apocalypse, believing his sermons were divine words from God that inspired many listeners. In one account of his story, it was said that he converted 25,000 Jews to Catholicism in Toledo, Spain, which was a remarkable achievement. But Vincent was not just a preacher, he was also a healer and a miracle worker. According to historical records and testimonies, when he was preaching in Brittany, a funeral procession passed by. He approached the mourners and asked whether the deceased had died in a state of grace. The family hesitated, unsure of the man's spiritual condition. He then prayed over the body, commanding the dead man to rise in the name of Christ. To the astonishment of everyone present, the man opened his eyes, sat up, and confessed his sins publicly. After receiving absolution, he laid back down and died again, this time in peace. This event was in St. Vincent's life story which inspired people. Another miracle incident in Valencia, Spain, when a man suffering from a terrible illness was on his deathbed, surrounded by grieving family members. The doctors had given up hope. Vincent, moved by the family's sorrow, prayed over the man and made the sign of the cross on his forehead. Immediately, the sick man opened his eyes, sat up, and was completely healed. The family, overcome with joy, spread the news, and more people began to seek Vincent for healing. These were just some of the few miracles attributed to his name. In his later life, he grew weaker because he slept very little and ate sparingly, for he spent most of his days serving other people. On April 5, 1419, at the age of 69 years old, Vincent happily passed away. He was later canonized by Pope Calixtus III. His body is resting inside the Cathedral of St. Peter in Vannes, France, where people come to honor him and offer prayers. Today, he is celebrated as the patron saint of builders, construction workers, healers, and orphans. His feast day is celebrated every 5th day of April. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.